This is now at portal.raidguild.org. And I went a little different way. I was using OpenClaw at first, but I realized that I had some very specific pipelines, and I didn't need the kind of autonomous nature of OpenClaw, the heartbeat, right? Because it was like, I want you to do this at this time and this at that time. I don't need you to like think about when to run something. So in that case, I was just like, okay, let's just do a railway and create kind of an ephemeral, sorry, we got tons of crap in here, ephemeral cron job, which looks like it failed last time. But I have two jobs here. One, which looks on GitHub for module spec label. If it sees it, basically pulls down the entire repo, makes a bunch of edits depending on this new spec that it sees, generates the code, and pushes it up in a new PR. And then what's kind of neat there is we have our Copilot and CodeRabbit in our raid guild, and so PRs will start to get reviews. And then look, there's been 73 of them, which is kind of crazy. So this one I actually just did, and I might have broke everything. I actually did it because I was like, oh shit, I really fucked up the architecture on this for one thing. And so I made a change to 58 files on my local code generation, and somehow it fixed it. I don't know, I guess so. But it was mainly just about profile components. Okay, here's one. Polling module. So an issue was created, and it basically said, oh, create a polling module. I want members to be able to vote on a poll. And so it generated all the code. It created a PR. It dropped the PR in here. And then we ended up with a bunch of things from our review agent, CodeRabbit. And just like then, or this was Copilot. It sees those reviews, and then it comes in and it fixes them until everything's fixed. Once it says like, okay, I fixed everything, and now you can go ahead and merge. So that's how that system is working. The actual portal is coming together. It has a bunch of these modules of just kind of random ideas. The daily brief gives you a little blog or a podcast of two people talking about what happened in the meetings. It's not great because it doesn't get all the information, but it's kind of fun. There's a way to record an audio check-in. You can say like, hello, this is me recording my voice again for a demo, and post that, and it transcribes it. So these are like creating, like here was one by Dis, which is actually pretty good, working on an ENS-based, state-based ENS entities. You can see it just did this. What this is cool is, yeah, you can just talk into it, record your daily check-in. But this information then could easily go into that memory system I was talking about. And then we can create a daily brief that is much more relevant, or we could create a bunch of seeds for Twitter posts, or we could create the newsletter, or we could do all those things. What else do we got that's kind of interesting? So that was just called the Guild Grimoire. This is just like a feed of updates from everyone. There's a forum. So we got like the roundup notes in this forum, and we got a DAO blog. We've got the blog from Elko in here. And so doing all these things here allows us a way to grab this information and make it part of our agent memory, and it makes us be able to do things. There's also these views for hosts. So hosts have their own view. This is where we can have a CRM. We can see our signups and we can send out emails. We can open things in iframes, like our guides. And we can look at feedback people have left. One of the things I want to do is set up this feedback center. So if anyone finds a bug or wants a new feature, put it in the feedback center. This should be viewable to everyone, not just the hosts. But the host can approve it, and in that flow, we could go into a triage agent and a planning agent from there, and then we would just have the whole thing like agentized. DAO members, if you claim your DAO membership on your profile, which is another module, then you can customize with all the different modules here. But anyways, if you claim your membership, you'll see a member screen, and there's some other things that are member only. Some DAO proposals. You can open that in iframe. So yeah, like I've said before, this is, the agents are just putting this out as a very bare bones scaffolding of these different tools. So the API and the database tables are there, and the UI is as bare bones as it can get. A lot of this stuff, though, I think, you could come in and do a much better job at designing it. So here's the Cohort Hub. This is like all of the stuff that we've been working on. Could definitely use a redesign, right? Like all this, there's a lot of information here, but it's not great. There's even like a shareable page here.
Yeah, how do you redesign this in a rational way? You have to just keep prompting the opinionated intern robot?
I think this would be a cool thing for someone to discover, someone who's a designer. I mean, this could be like, Patrick or some of the other cohort people that are designers and product people. Like, I know that there's flows with Figma and the Figma MCP where you could like take this web page, put it into OpenAI, and then connect it to, like, you're a professional designer and I want you to hook up to Figma, and let's start redesigning this page so it looks better. There's some kind of flow like that. I don't know it. I think there's probably like designers that are using this stuff all day and have figured it out. So that could be another brown bag. But yeah, you might be like, this is, the information hierarchy is messed up. It's just like stuff is just dropped in here. But there's potential for it just from layout changes to look much better and cooler. So yeah, I don't know. Prompt the AI. Eventually.
No, but I feel like if you do if you front load the work in terms of really storyboarding the portal and the functions, and just start with a very good prompt. I saw a quote somewhere that I really liked. It's like, AI doesn't fix chaos. We just have to really sit down and figure out what is the thing that we need.
Yeah.
Even before the first prompt.
I think that's,
and just like literally could draw it by hand.
That's how this works. I think that the problem and where designers and technical people have always had to coordinate is defining the way that the guts and the wires are connected to the way that it's displayed, and both sides have to be make compromises sometimes. There's constraints always. So, I mean, at this point, it's just like the wires are connected. The constraints now for the designer is to say, like, okay, well, these are the things. Now, if it seems like this was a totally wrong wires, that's fine too. I mean, if this is just like a kicking off point, like, oh, okay, well, we wanted a cohort landing page. What does that actually look like? And you just redesign and redevelop the whole thing, that's totally fine. What you get out of that is two specs. You get both the tech spec and the design spec, and then you just let the bot build it again. But this is the whole thing about working with these agents and working with AI in general, is you use your taste, your curation, and your judgment, your experience to define what you want. But you don't do it to execute what you want. You spend all the time in definition. And then you let the execution, which is the thing that used to take the longest amount of time, be done by the agents. But now you have more time to focus on the planning. So.
But we could go in there and change a thing by hand if needed.
Yeah, we can. I mean, it's just a repo. It's you just pull it down and put it into your local agent thing and just start talking to it. But yeah, I would be interested more in what that designer flow might look like, and how that could be wired up. I mean, maybe at this point it's just like, okay, well, these are just modules that Deacon or someone thought would be interesting for us to have. And I mean, if you look at most of them, they're very like, I don't know, where's one that's especially bad? This one.